guys, it's been a while since I last recorded this game. I've been busy with The Evil Within 2 and other playthroughs I've been doing. So we're going to jump right into Metal Gear Solid 2, The Plant chapter. Scientists had to make thousands of calculations to create the atomic bomb and determine its effects. Computers and atomic bombs, both products of World War II, grew up together. That's an ominous thought.
Snake, do you remember the sinking of that tanker 2 years ago?
Of course.
Terrorists blow a hole in an oil
So
tanker
obviously
full of
that's
crude
not
barely
Snake.
20 miles off the shore of Manhattan. Your classic nightmare. It didn't take long for the government to put an oil fence around the whole mess. And then that massive offshore cleanup facility went up inside.
The big shell. I hear the cleanup isn't quite over yet.
It takes time. But in the meantime, the shell's become a landmark, a symbol of environmental protection.
Calling teams Alpha and Bravo. Deploy at the big shell as scheduled.
Approximately 6 hours ago, the big shell was seized by an armed group.
Do we have an ID?
Former members of the Navy SEAL Special Anti-Terrorist Training Squad Dead Cell. Russian private army members may also be involved. It's a highly trained group and they have the big shell under complete control.
Come in from downwind and pull up fast. Get ready to fast rope down to Shell 1. 5 minutes to ETA. Alpha, your top priority is to rescue and safeguard the President. Team Bravo, watch out for Stillman's back and get those C4s disarmed.
What are their demands?
$30 billion.
$30 billion. What makes them think they can get that
$30
much?
billion. That's
There was a
lot.
government-sponsored tour going on at the big shell that day.
Hostages, huh?
A VIP from one of the major conservation groups, and one from our own government. The most important person in a sense,
The most important person?
James Johnson.
The president?
Unless the demands are met, the terrorists
Wow, they've
intend
got
to
the
blow the
president
big shell
in
out
there.
of the water.
And the crude will ignite, turning the Manhattan Harbor into an inferno.
That's not the worst-case scenario. If the chlorides being used to decontaminate the seawater go up with the oil, toxins containing catastrophic levels of dioxins will be released. In other words, the bay's ecosystem will be wiped out, and the sea will turn into a toxic soup for centuries, becoming the worst environmental disaster in history.
Damn. I guess it's all up to us, huh?
You have 2 mission objectives. 1, infiltrate the offshore decontamination facility Big Shell and safeguard the president and other hostages. And 2, disarm the terrorists by any means necessary. You should know that SEAL Team 10 is also conducting a rescue operation.
Is this a joint effort?
No. Foxhound remains a covert body. Don't alert them to your presence. That is an order.
This is Snake. I'm now inside Strut A of Shell 1.
How are things?
We're in luck. Looks like there are no sentries posted here.
What's the visibility?
The lights on the plant's struts are functioning. I won't have to use the IR goggles.
Any problems?
There was a brand new hole cut through the oil fence. There's someone else besides me that wanted to get in badly.
That's not possible.
What about SEAL Team 10?
They landed on the roof of the Big Shell as planned. And by the way, Snake, we're changing your code name for all following communication.
What's wrong with Snake?
Just a precaution. You are now designated Raiden. All right, Raiden. You've already covered infiltration and VR training.
I've completed 300 missions in VR. I feel like some kind of legendary mercenary.
Ha ha.
Okay, we'll skip that part. Make sure nobody sees you. If you need to, contact me by codec. The frequency is 140.85. When you want to use the codec, push the select button. When we need to reach you, contact you, the codec will beep. When you hear that noise, press the select button. The codec's receiver directly stimulates the small bones of your ear. No one but you will be able to hear it.
All right. I'll contact you if anything changes.
First, make your way to the upper section of the big shell.
How do I get up to the next level?
There's an elevator at the far end of that area. Use that.
Sounds good.
Your new sneaking suit uses electrofiber technology, a byproduct of fiber optics research. The texture isn't far removed from rubber, but the material protects against a wide range of toxic substances. The suit itself has a wide array of built-in sensors. It is referred to as smart skin in military R&D. Data about damage to different regions of the body, including blood loss, is exchanged between the suit and the intravenous nanomachines to create a feedback system.
There's a lot of pressure on my torso.
Relax. The suit applies varying pressure to major internal organs to maximize performance and safeguard their functions.
I always
They
thought
call
that
this
suit
the
makes
skull
him
suit
look
in
like a lady.
Foxhound.
Skull
But
suit.
whatever.
Seems appropriate somehow.
The hatch with a circular handle will open into the elevator area. Locate the hatch first.
Copy that. Moving on to main mission objectives.
So that right there is a big hint that something's not right here. Why his name if he's already a member of a secret intelligence organization? Obviously in the real world they don't want you to associate him with Snake, just in case he doesn't work out. But if he's already a member of a secret intelligence organization, why would they need to change his code name if he's on an encrypted frequency to begin with? So that right there is a hint that something's wrong here. Okay, so I don't know why Raiden threw the IR goggles back into there, but we're gonna dive in and get them because they can actually come in very useful. The infrared goggles.
Got your feet wet? These are the basic controls for swimming. Stroke the water and move forward by pushing the punch button. Push it in rapid succession to swim faster.
Change your heading with the left stick. Up will take you up, down takes you lower, left and right to face those directions.
The O2 gauge will appear under your life gauge while you're underwater. The gauge corresponds to the amount of air you can hold from a single deep breath. Once the O2 gauge falls to 0, the life gauge will start to drop. You need to be aware of that.
There we go, the thermal goggles. Like I said, I don't know why he dropped them in there because they are very useful in the game for detecting mines and stuff like that. Alright, so first we're gonna get the shaver, which is around here somewhere, for Snake. Because we want Snake to have a nice clean shave later on. There's a bomb planted there under that lifeboat. That's gonna come into play soon enough. That mask makes it a little difficult to see. Kind of looks like an alien. Come on, Raiden, get in there. Oh wow, it's not here. I guess once you use it once in a game, it doesn't replay the next game. It's basically a little bonus item that you can give to Snake later on. Not important, so we'll just go on without it. Yeah, what a surprise. That colored me shocked. It's not here. Oh well, never mind. Like I said, we'll just go on without it. Not gonna waste too much time on that. There's a ration.
Colonel, I've sighted an enemy sentry. AN-94 and a Makarov. Those grenades, all his equipment, is Russian-made.
Must be a Gralukovich man.
Gralukovich?
A Russian private army that was in line to work with the Shadow Moses takeover group 4 years ago.
What's their stake in this one?
They must have made a deal, an arrangement with the terrorists. They become a band of mercenaries, an army without a country.
Raiden, you should be used to the...
So that's the start of the one-word questions. That's an annoying little aspect of this game. Wow, I've never gotten that message before for that I'm taking too much time. So there's Snake. Which leads to the question, who is this guy?
Colonel, there's definitely another intruder in here besides me.
That's not a possibility.
Not a team. Looks like a solo job.
One man.
We may not know who he is, but he managed to take care of every sentry in the area. They're all out cold. Whoever he is, he's got some skills.
We need to get an ID. But for now, you can take advantage of the situation and get to work. There's a terminal in front of the elevator. A node.
Did you say nerd?
Not nerd. Node.
Oh,
Use the node
Man, Raiden's
to gain
such a
access to
dork.
the Big Shell's facilities network.
then what?
Pull up the map of the structure. That'll let you activate the Soliton radar.
The Soliton radar? True. That radar came in useful during VR training.
A radar system uses biological magnetic fields as input. These estimated enemy positions are projected onto a map according to reference points collected via GPS signals and field personnel reports. We need to get to the map through the Big Shell's node to put this data processing to practical use. The node unit is about 3 feet high, should be colored blue. Each area has at least one.
How do I gain access?
Just push the action button in front of the node. The nanomachines in your body will take care of the security clearance and allow you access to the node. Complete the procedure before those sentries gain consciousness. If they spot you, you won't be able to gain access for a while. Stay on guard.
Got it.
So what he was referring to earlier with the VR missions was a disc called Metal Gear Solid VR missions, which is exactly what it says. It's just 300 VR missions. You know, that you can play. There's no story, nothing. That came out after Metal Gear Solid 1, and they range from they range from the incredible to the silly. We're a big fan of them. I never liked the VR missions by itself. Oh, watch this. This is funny. Damn, that's a hell of a shock just to access a radar system. So you're supposed to put your own name here. This will become relevant at the end of the game, but we're not gonna do that. I'm not gonna put my own name on the dog tag, so we're just gonna put Jack White. That seems like a nice generic word for name for Raiden. Birthday. Nah, let's make it June. Let's make it 6/20, June 20th. Yeah, I never liked the VR missions much because I don't see a point without. There's no story, there's no in-depth narrative, nothing. There's just 300 VR missions for you to complete. It was kind of like a bonus disc for Metal Gear Solid Integral on the PC, but then they released it separately on its own as a full game, and it's okay. But yeah, that's what he was referring to. He's completed those 300 VR missions, so Raiden is prepared for anything. And I'm gonna put Liberia here because, as you'll see, that becomes extremely relevant later on. So Liberia, that's Raiden. And there we go, we got access to the radar. So radar does not appear during intrusion view. That means that basically when you're sneaking in through those vents, you can't really tell where the enemy is. You can change it to actually have it appear during intrusion view, but come on. What are we, toddlers? We don't need to see exactly where the enemy is while we're hitting an event. There's no way they're ever gonna get to us in there anyway. Leave the blood on. Come on. What kind of sissy option is that, turning off the blood in an action espionage game? There we go.
Good work, Raiden.
The radar should be functioning now?
Remember your VR training sessions. The tool is exactly the same one. It maps the terrain as well as the position of enemy personnel. The bright dot in the middle is you, Raiden. The red dots are your enemies, and the blue cone shape represents their field of vision. Your radar isn't affected by the weather, but if you're discovered by an enemy, you won't be able to use it. It gets jammed easily, I'm afraid. It's all made
I
from
like the
currently
little
existing
window in
technology.
the codec screen. If you look at it,
You won't be able to
you
use
see
it in an area with
Stealth
strong
Raiden
harmonic
there,
resonance, so
running
be
around with
careful.
his wig.
The big shell's layout
the
map should
bonus
now
item
be
you can
available
get,
after touching
the
the start
stealth.
button.
How do I save the mission data?
I've set aside a proprietary frequency for saves, and an analyst to work on the data too.
Jack, is everything all right?
What are you doing here?
Jack, can you hear me?
Rose, you're not supposed to be involved. What's going on?
Jack, I'm a part of this mission.
Colonel, what the hell is going on?
Raiden, meet the mission analyst. She'll be overseeing the data saving and support.
Why her?
The Foxhound analyst that was supposed to take part in this mission was in an accident. Rosemary was brought in as a replacement.
An accident?
And according to the files, she knows
That's
you better
bullshit.
than anybody else.
Rose may be in the service, but an intelligence analyst is no field officer.
Not to worry. She has our technical staff at her disposal.
She's never been a part of a field mission. This is insane.
I have my own reasons for selecting her for this mission, soldier.
Colonel, I fail to see...
I know your VR training performance in and out, but sometimes that's not enough. You're familiar with the Shadow Moses incident?
You know I covered it in VR.
If there's a crucial tactical detail that case taught us, it was the power of the operative's will to survive.
I was trained to fight. My personal feelings have no place in a mission.
We've learned that it doesn't work that way. And on the field, you need all the help you can get.
Jack, you're stuck with me whether you like it or not.
Rose,
You need someone to watch your back. But I have conditions that need to be met, Colonel.
What is it?
I'll perform my duties and save that mission data, but I'm aware that technically I'm not part of the mission control team. After all, I'm just a normal girl who's worried about Jack. But that means, Colonel, that I am not required to follow your orders outside of my immediate duties. Jack is not simply a field personnel for me to track. His safety comes first to me, not the mission. And because of that, I will be monitoring and keeping a record of every communication you have with him, Colonel.
Given the circumstances, you're free to do what you see fit.
Hey, I prefer this to being kept in the dark waiting.
I'd like to make a request, if I may.
Of course.
His handle is Raiden. For the duration of the mission, could you call him that?
Yes, sir. All right, Raiden. Let me know when you're ready to turn in a save. The proprietary save frequency is 140.96. I just switched frequencies. Jack,
what?
do you know what day it is tomorrow?
April 30th. Is there something special about it?
Isn't there?
I can't remember.
I like how
I'm
she
sorry.
immediately starts
well.
ignoring the
I'll keep
colonel's
trying
order.
until I hear the answer. I'm gonna let you go now, Jack. Take care.
So that's annoying for a lot of players, the April 30th thing. But with another character who actually brings it up in a more serious role, it becomes more relevant later on.
Raiden, the enemy sentry is regaining consciousness.
Be careful, Jack.
Find somewhere to hide until the elevator arrives. You must stay out of sight.
Alright, so it's time to hide. We just stay in here. They won't notice us.
I'm under enemy fire. Secure the perimeter.
It's funny how they check every spot except for this one. And since we're still in the PS2, we're still using the primitive radar. You know, the enemies don't get advanced vision until the PS4. Well, actually they do have more vision in Metal Gear Solid 3 because that's in the wilderness, but that's a necessity there. But they don't really get really advanced vision until the PS4. They have good vision in the PS3 with Metal Gear Solid 4, but it's not like in the 5th game where Metal Gear Solid 5 they can see you everywhere you are. Okay, so we're gonna wait until one of these guys goes away. As long as you stay in the middle, there are those barrels you want in you. We just gotta wait for one of them to go away. So that guy's heading off. It's been a long time since I played this segment, so that's why I'm watching their maneuvers to see how much time I have to basically beat that guy up. The one on the right. He's going down. Alright, he's turning his back. There we go. Let's just get into the elevator. He's never gonna know what hit him anyway. So here is the big shock of the game that was originally a shock to players. Instead of Solid
The
Snake,
terrorists call themselves
playing-
Sons of Liberty.
Sons of Liberty?
The name of their leader is Solid Snake.
as
The
this
hero
guy.
of Shadow Moses? So that's why you changed my code name.
Right, but he can't be the
Does he
Solid
really
Snake.
look like a badass
He
spy?
died 2 years ago on that tanker after he blew it sky high.
Quentin Flynn.
Could he have survived?
Not a chance.
He looks like a girl, doesn't he?
Colonel, I'm on the roof. There are no sentries, but it would only take one to spot me in this light.
You never had daylight VR training after all. Stay extra sharp until you can find a node to log in from.
What about the commandos?
SEAL Team 10 has landed on struts B and C.
And the president?
Seems he was spotted on strut B.
Strut B?
The big shell is comprised of shells 1 and 2. Each unit consists of a central core and 6 struts surrounding it.
So the whole thing is shaped like 2 hexagons connected end on end.
Exactly. And you're on the roof of strut A, shell 1 at the moment. First, get to a node. Log into the network.
Got it.
I find it funny how they make it out to be a big deal that he's in the daylight, when technically speaking it should be the same thing as sneaking inside buildings, you know? It's not gonna be a huge amount of difference. I never got the daylight VR thing either. Like, I know there are VR missions here that you can do that kind of have like a daylight backdrop, but what does it matter? You know? It's still a VR environment. And let's just slip here on some bird crap to show that it can happen. A second. Man, Raiden's such a dork. Snake would never slip on that. He'd take careful, methodical steps. But Raiden, no, he just slips right on it. Those are some nice looking birds too. you can kill them with your guns if you're a sadistic psychopath. So that thing is locked right there. And yeah, shell still looks pretty good for a PS2 game, doesn't it? It's been remastered and all, but still, I'd say it looks damn good for a PS2 game. It's been so many years since it was released, it's hard to remember sometimes that this was pretty advanced back when the PS2 first started. And this was in the early days of the PS2, and look at what they were already doing with the technology. It's awesome.
Raiden, look at that wire fence. You may be able to crawl through it.
Crouch down using the crawl button. Then push the left stick in the direction you want to move. Push the crawl button again to stand up.
You can use weapons even while crawling. This is different from VR training, so you keep that in mind.
Yeah, I got it, Colonel.
Raiden, SEAL Team 10 is in.
Do we really have no line of communication with the SEALs?
They don't know a thing about us. You know we work in the dark, and this mission is no exception. Only a few people know about your presence here. There's no need for concern. This operation is under Pentagon's direct command, and the NSDD came from the Vice President and the Secretary of Defense. Your mission may be top secret, but it's gone through the usual channels.
Yep, Raiden, you're working for the president, whether he knows it or not. Yeah, so SEAL Team 10 isn't gonna last long, obviously, or else there would be no game, wouldn't there? Look at that bird flying in circles. What is it about that little spot that intrigues him so much?